for you. It's about a year ago. I actually did that in a project that Nate and I were working on together, and I wrote a nice long document for you on that. But of course, if I worded it that way, it would have been so much easier, right? I should have done this talk a year ago. It would have been easier, right? And now Nate's like, that makes sense now. All this time I've been struggling, but I'm glad you came. So now you'll understand it. But what you can do is just stand up so that little dotted guy is your receiver of your remote method calls. The remote method calls come in, and behind the scenes, you just call your normal business object. Yes?
So if you don't pass the interfaces and you create your object, you call,
Mhm.
can you catch invalid method call and then reroute it somewhere else? I guess it's talking about the RMI because
Mhm.
I've seen some very similar lists. I've always wondered how to do this in Java and
Mhm.
wrapping like a static API in Ruby in the call, and you have a not found handler
Mhm.
that receives exactly something very similar to proxy object. So I don't know, a REST call or
Mhm.
some call, whatever.
It's kind of a neat trick.
Can you do that?
Well, there's a couple different things you can do. With if the interfaces that you're passing in aren't the same as what this class implements, there's a couple ways you can go about that. One is if you decide you want to have a naming convention on it. You could just say, okay, the interfaces being passed in have to have the same names with remote on the end as the interface that this guy implements. And then you could just look up and see which interfaces I have, match them up, and then you could take it a step further. Do those guys that match up by names have the same methods? Or do they have, now the methods aren't going to be exactly the same because on the remote one, they're going to say throws remote. So what you're going to do is want to check the parameters. And this is actually something I did, at least I think I did most of that in that tool. Um, and actually, I know I took it a slightly different angle. Another thing you can do is use annotations to have the remote interfaces tell you what the actual